You'll never reach your goals if you don't have a strong reason as to why you're chasing something. You need to have something that's pushing you, something that's so terrifying that you have no choice but to sprint to your goal without looking back. I really think this mindset started when I was 15 years old. I was always this quiet kid. I had a group of about 20 people that I considered to be my friends at the time, but I was really only close to maybe one or two of them, and I would constantly get made fun of. I was just the laughing stock of this group because I was so quiet and awkward and like skinny. And I still am skinny now, but the difference is that I have more confidence. And throughout my high school years, I really didn't understand what I wanted to do with my life. And I was so terrified of what I'd become because my teachers and my peers around me would see me failing and they'd make fun of me. They'd tell me, Dylan, you're going nowhere. Dylan, you can't achieve this. Any goal that I told them about that wasn't school related, they'd put me down. And I never really knew what I wanted to do. I just knew that I didn't want to have a boss one day. I knew that I wanted freedom. I knew that I wanted to be able to make my own decisions, but I didn't know how I would go about that. And I would try so many things for so many years of just random shit. I tried day trading. I tried SMMA. I tried coding websites. I've tried washing cars. I've tried fucking everything. And the worst thing that I had was shiny object syndrome. I would try to do one thing and I wouldn't see results with it for 2 weeks, a month, or even 3 months. But then I'd see someone else having all this success with another venture. And so I drop everything I'm doing and I would go try that. And then the same cycle repeated. I see someone else having a ton of success doing another venture. And I would drop everything that I had and I would go and try that. And I repeated this for years. I never really put my full effort into something because I always had this vision of like, oh, well, if this doesn't work out, then I'll just go and do that. And that's why I feel like I just wasn't successful with anything that I did. And I never knew why. And I never knew why I was even doing it. I had a decent reason. Oh, I just wanted freedom and wanted to make my own decisions, but there was no deeper meaning behind that. I guess I was lucky to find my reason at a young age. It wasn't necessarily the best way to find out. The last few years of my mother's life, she had schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And one day when I was 15 years old, I had come home after school. My dad and my brother had picked me up. I saw the car, so I walked over thinking it'd be any normal day. I got in and they're bawling their eyes out, both of them. And I didn't understand why, because they were crying so heavily that they didn't say what was going on. And so I just remember having to hug them, telling them everything's gonna be okay, even though I didn't necessarily know what happened or if anything would be okay. It turned out that my mom had killed herself, and I never really processed it since then. And for the next couple of years after that, until I was 17 years old, I never really processed that. I never took it all in. And I continued down my path of trying different things. But it wasn't until I was around 16, probably, I had broken down in class, crying hysterically. And I remember everyone looking at me like I was a fucking weirdo, because it kind of was. Like, you're just sitting in a math class, and then all of a sudden this random kid is crying his eyes out in the back of the classroom. And I remember my teacher telling me, Dylan, shut the fuck up. And I was so angry at her, and I had built all this anger and I wanted to scream at her. And what she told me next made me even angrier. She told me, Dylan, no matter how much you cry, it's not going to change anything, so suck it up. Maybe it wasn't the right way to tell me, but about a week or two later, I was really processing it because I was embarrassed about that situation. And I also realized this too, is not to take what people say to you at heart, but take the message. And the message was, you can go two ways. You can either dig yourself in a hole and let it ruin you, and you can blame all of your failure in life on this one situation, blaming everything that you can't do on that one specific event, or you can be the second person who leverages that situation to become the best version of themselves. And it was kind of a realization that I had to come to terms with on my own. You know, I didn't really have people to guide me in this, because when you're grieving, the world just keeps going. Everything's slowed down for you, but the world doesn't care. You know, my dad and my brother were also completely ruined by this situation. And by no means are we a rich family. We had taken on a ton of debt because of that situation, hospital bills from when she was with her therapist, when she had schizophrenia, even funeral expenses, everything in between. We had so much debt. And I remember my dad telling me about it, and I didn't want to say anything to his face because I knew that I wasn't the one that's in that situation of paying that debt back. But I remember going back to my room and just crying for probably the next fucking 6 hours. And I was freaking out because I didn't understand this. And I was worried, where am I going to be in the next few months or the years? When I'm 18, what's going to happen to me? Do I have to have everything figured out? My reason to why I started chasing these things, my real reason as to why I do the things that I do now is because I was so terrified of becoming an adult and having nothing to my name, because I felt like I had to have everything figured out. And I wanted to make sure that when I come to my deathbed, that I'm able to say that I had achieved all the things that I wanted to achieve, that I had made the impact on the world, and I had made the world a better place. But I was just freaking out because I didn't know how I was going to do that, where I would end up at the time. And so when I had gotten my driver's license, I started driving down to all these rich areas, and I was still lost. I was this awkward kid. So I would go and find rich people, or anyone that looked rich in my eyes, which to me at that time was anyone that had Jordans on. And I would ask them, what do you do for a living? What advice could you give me? And after a while of doing that, about say a month or 2 months of just doing that every weekend, I realized two things: that they either told me to learn real estate or learn sales. I didn't understand real estate. I tried wholesale and real estate. I fucking sucked. So I tried to do sales. I tried selling life insurance. I was appointment setting for Primerica. I hated it. I hated buying leads when I didn't even have the money to buy leads, let alone when I got a closed deal. All I did was appointment set. I didn't get the full commission like the closers did. And so I tried day trading. I made some money day trading. I lost money day trading. Overall, I was somewhat profitable. It didn't resonate with me. And that's when I went back to my sales roots that I'd learned doing life insurance. So I gave selling solar a go. I went door to door. And I want you to imagine this awkward kid that's coming up to your house trying to sell something that you probably don't even want, that's going to go on your roof for the next 25 years. What would you say to him? Probably yell at him. And I got yelled at a lot. And I'd work every single day from 9 a.m. all the way up to even 8 p.m. The days would be 115 degrees, sweating. I didn't get paid for the entire month. I didn't get a dime. And my dad always would be giving me a hard time about it. Dylan, you need to get a real job. You're not making any money with this. Dylan, you need to focus on school. And for whatever reason, I had this vision for myself that I knew if I stuck with this for a long enough period, I will make it work. I always kind of brushed off what he said. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to get a normal job because I saw how it is for other people that have these 9-to-5s. They hated it. And I was so terrified of that life. And that's my real reason as to why I'm pushing for all of these things. And after being in the solar industry, I had joined high ticket sales because I was so tired of knocking on doors in neighborhoods, tired of getting paid 2-3 months later. And I saw all these people making the same amount of money, if not more than I was making from their laptops in the AC. So it was a no-brainer for me to switch because I had the time freedom, I had the location freedom. And I had originally joined this program. I didn't really get much one-on-one coaching or really any coaching. I really just relied on my skills in door-to-door. My first month of high ticket sales after joining a program just to get placed on an offer, I made $13.5K. And then my second month, it was $18,000. I had realized the potential that I had in the industry, and I had started coaching other peers around me because I saw that they weren't getting the proper training. So I started teaching them my way, the way that I learned to sell. Then they started getting results. And as I kept selling for all these other offers, at one point I was balancing 3 offers that I was closing for at one time. I decided to coach my own students one-on-one just because when I had paid for this original program, I got no one-on-one support. And I felt like that was very important to me because it felt like I was just in another classroom learning from some teacher that's teaching the same thing to 40 other students. And I needed it tailored to me so that I could learn, because the way I had to learn was by staying up every single night to 1, 2, 3 in the morning, taking notes on random YouTube videos and trying random shit out. And yes, I made it work within the first month, but that was because I put in work every single day and I no-lifed the hell out of it. And I guess now I'm here today. I live in Hawaii. I get to live in this amazing, beautiful house, and I'm also making my impact slowly on the world. I guess this was the goal, to have this freedom, to not have to worry about little expenses, to be able to take care of what's left of the family. I really think that deep down, if I wasn't so terrified of not having my stuff together by the time I was 18, then I wouldn't be here. Because majority of people, they start taking life seriously at 25 to 30 years old. And when I realized that if I'd start at 17 or 18, I'd have a 7-year gap on those people, a 7-year head start, it was go time. And that's why I started the journey, because I was so terrified of ending up like these random adults that are partying in clubs with barely $1,000 to their name. I didn't want to be like that. And that's why I started pushing so heavily. And I think if you start something early and you stick with it for a long period of time, don't do what I did. Okay, I tried so many different things. I could have been successful at all of them, but I switched up too fast. But once I hammered down on sales, that one thing is what took me to where I'm at now. Just stick to one thing, master it. No matter how long it takes you, stick to it and have that belief of yourself. You need to have a strong reason as to why why you're chasing your goal, because it should feel like a fucking shark is chasing you and you're trying to swim as fast as you can away from it to shore. That's how it should feel when you're grinding. And if you carry that mindset and you start young and you stick with what you're doing, I promise you, you're going to end up where you want to be. It's just a matter of time. Everyone's on their own timeline. You just have to have that self-belief to know that it's going to work out. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. I guess if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll put the link in the description as well for that. And thank you for watching.